Hello, one and all, and welcome to another episode of Baggers Chat. My name is Mitch Pattinson, and as always, we're joined by Ethan Daffy. And tonight, we are reviewing Carlton v St Kilda at Melville Stadium. The final scores were 11 goals, 8, 74 to the Carlton Football Club to then the Saints, 11 goals, 10, 76 points. It's a 2-point loss. So you kind of look at that and you can kind of hear in our voices, we're a little bit happy. And you're probably a little bit confused about that because I don't know. I mean, I would assume everything no. But the other result after our game was obviously Fremantle versus Port Adelaide. And Port Adelaide had to win to keep our final chances alive after our loss against the Saints. Port Adelaide got the job done. So we are officially in the 8, and I will say this right now before I throw to you, Daff. This is the weirdest feeling I've ever felt as a Carlton supporter because the amount of rollercoaster emotions throughout the day, of like the high of like the first quarter was great, like the energy, the dip of Jack Higgins kicking the winner, coming back home, and I'm like, we don't fucking deserve it. Like, I'm like, we don't fucking deserve it, and then we actually got the 8 in the 8, and I'm like, okay. Right. Just hold about. But Daff, your thoughts, mate. What's going through your head if you can explain it?
Oh, mate, you couldn't have summed it up better. I think, I was walking home going, if we don't make it, we didn't deserve it. But then you're watching the Port Adelaide game and you're going, like, I'll sit there going, I need to not invest myself too heavily. And then it started to get creeping down to the last quarter in that game. And I reckon I was almost on the Port Adelaide website getting a 3-game membership the way they were playing. But it's a weird feeling. Like we said before we filmed, it's going to be obviously the title is going to be the review of the Saints Blues game. But I just think the roller coaster of whatever happened today in the last 8 hours has just hit us. And it's almost like, of course, it was disappointing today, and I was heartbroken. Absolutely heartbroken at the footy. I was speechless. It was a bit 2022-esque, but it was almost. I had tears that day in 2022, but today I was like, we've had that much pain that it's almost got to me going, you know what I mean? It's like that. It's happened again. But when was the last time we had a bit of footy god's luck? Really? This year we haven't. Injuries, some results going our way, even McGovern, missing that shot. The footy gods just didn't want us to win that game. And I know it was on his boot, so it technically isn't the footy gods, but still the footy gods, Patto. And finally, something happened where, we didn't win the game today, but, something else happened and we're in. So we've just got to back him in, I think, Patto. Why not? And like you said, players are coming back. I
don't think there's really any other choice other than to back them in, unfortunately, Duff. But I think it's something we just had it's such a funny feeling. And like, I'll say it. Like I've already said it to you, but I'll say it on the episode. I am extremely tired for the amount of emotions. I know that I've already said the roller coaster of emotions, but just the dip and the adrenaline of like, we were kind of up, and then I was watching I got home and Fremantle were up, so I was like, and then Port Adelaide, I was like, okay, and it just once again it was like a bloody seesaw of emotion. My golly gosh, and I went out for breakfast with my mum this morning. It was the first time that I've seen her in a few weeks because she went overseas and she also worked on the Olympics. So I was speaking to her, and she's a Saints supporter. So one half of my family is St Kilda. The other half is Carlton. So we're kind of like, it's always a game that we kind of speak about. And I was speaking to her and I'm like, look, if we can't find a way to win tonight, we don't deserve finals. And that was my exact reaction after the game. I'm like, I don't really want to watch the Fremantle Port Adelaide game. But then I'm thinking the exact same thing that like, there has to be some sort of reason why we have made the eight.
Yes.
And I'm not saying anything in particular, Duffy boy, but the season is so even. And
Yes.
if you remember saying in round 15, round 16, and I'll stand by it to this day, our best football is the best football in the competition.
Yes.
Without a doubt, in my opinion. Without a doubt. There's people that will disagree 100%, but our best is the best in season 2024, in my opinion.
Yep.
I'll just go through some names, Steph, that are expected to potentially be back for the elimination final. So we do want to try and touch on the game just a little bit, but I think for the supporters, for the viewers, and obviously the people that are into Carlton right now, and obviously are watching the AFL, we're not going to touch on the game today as much as we usually would in a review, just because, as you've said so many times, the team lineup today was AFL team, and it kind of reached the limit of what that kind of group could really go. Is that what you would say as well?
I think you're spot on. I think it's happened a few weeks. I think, I'm not saying the last 2 months are because of injuries, but fuck, Patto. They don't help. And I said with the footy gods have been not on our side with the injuries. You got TDK out, you got 2 key forwards out. And even before Harry and Charlie out, we just always had guys in and out, didn't we? It was always in, out, in, out, in, out. Oh, McGovern's out, someone else is in, and then he comes in. It was just, the continuity is so important in football. And I know we're not going to have continuity with 100 names coming back into this side. Well, who knows who comes into the side? The selection's going to be weird, but it's, like you said, it's this feeling of it ain't over. It ain't over till it's over, and this top 8 are beatable. This top 8's beatable. It's the most open season. So if you're going to pick a year to not win outside the top 4, it's probably this year. I know it's even, so maybe it makes it harder because each team can be really good. But that doesn't mean we can't, if we get over the Brisbane Lions, who would we play?
It would be Sydney versus Giants, the loser of that. So we've got that half, which is annoying because I'm like, if we were playing Port Adelaide Geelong.
Yeah. But we play the Giants at their ground. We were 45 points up on them, Patto, at that ground, and lost the game. But it's a great season. Let's be real. This season has been fantastic. I think people talk about the season being so close. It's so close because I don't think there's an outlier that's been the best team all year. Like the Swans are top, but the last 2 months, they haven't been at their best. So that's opened the door for other teams. It was Carlton, Sydney, remember? It was Carlton, Sydney. We dropped off. And they lost to Saints. They lost to Cert. And it's like, oh, my God, the door's wide open. We're talking about fucking Port Adelaide and Geelong winning the flag. Oh, that's how open it is at the moment. And then those 2 teams we beat by 10 goals. So you just got to be in it to win it. And I'm just thankful and I'm happy for those players. I know today everyone's going to be talking about, we choked in the last minute, blah, blah, blah. They left it all out there. They did. The effort, there was no lack of effort. They pushed hard, and it was a Jack Higgins snap over his shoulder that bended like a boomerang to go through, and that's just football. And look at Fremantle. Imagine how they're feeling right now. Going, fuck, that's another finals gone. So it's margins, Patto. It is margins.
And that's the thing. I think there's another thing that we have to look at, and it's obviously we were so good through the season, so good.
Yeah.
So we kind of then go back to the football gods, and finally goes in our favor. And as we mentioned a few times, surely we can do something with this.
Yes.
We can't just then lose to Brisbane by 60 points.
Give it a crack.
Give it something. And I just, it's a funny thing to kind of think about. But I just reckon if we can get past the Lions, it opens up.
It does. And I know the draw is tough, like you said, with the Sydney and Giants, but I just don't think we need to worry about that at the moment. Like, no, I completely agree. I've loved Port Adelaide and Geelong, absolutely. But I think we've just got to be happy we're in.
Mhm.
And let's just make the most of the opportunity we have. And if we can get through the lines, which I just want to see us have a real crack.
Yeah.
I want a 4-quarter. And if they beat us by, you know, a goal late in the game, which we would hate, push them. I
Mm.
want to see the maximum capacity of our team now. We've had shit 8 weeks. And like you said, there's got to be a reason we are in this final series.
Yeah.
Well, like clearly Freo weren't meant to be. Clearly Collingwood weren't meant to be. So why are we there? Why are we there? That's a question I think the players need to ask themselves, and that should be the conversation. Why are we there? And they know the answer because we've played enough good footy this year to impact at the pointy end.
Mm. And I was just thinking back on like those losses that we had,
Oh, Adelaide.
what it could have turned out to be if we ended up not
Yeah.
making the finals, but we're not even
Yeah.
going to look at that. But I this is just me being the optimist I am, but if we can get past the lines, massive if.
Yeah.
We've been saying if the whole time about finals, but now we're finally in
Yep.
finals.
We're in, yes.
It's still an if, but if we can get past the Lions,
Yep.
we then would play the loser of Sydney Giants, and it could be the Giants. We've beaten. Oh no, we haven't beaten. I was thinking of Port Adelaide.
We've beaten Giants.
There though. No, we haven't. Not there. So then, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was going to say, because I thought we.
Could be the Swans.
Wow, who would you rather?
Well, like you said, let's just get past the Lions.
Yeah,
But take them on, both of them. If we can beat the Lions, the momentum will be massive, and the pressure's always on the losing side. And whoever lose, like Melbourne last year,
and
straight sets. But it's the momentum.
Mm.
You can't, and the way football is going right now, it is momentum. Teams are winning in blocks of games, like 4 in a row, 5 in a row. And what happens if you win if we have to win to win the premiership, we have to win 4 games. Why can't that run start now with Harry coming back, Charlie coming back, McGovern rested today, which was a good and bad decision. Bad decision not bad decision, but bad, laid out for the game today. But that game doesn't matter now, and he's had a week off. So it could be like 6 changes, 5, 6 changes to this side. But I wonder how much we tinker.
I think those 6 changes are almost automatic ins, aren't they? So I do want to ask you some questions about those players, but just before, so a massive if, but if we get past the Lions and if we potentially could get past the Swans or the Giants in a prelim, we would play
Geelong.
Or Geelong. And we know the history of Port Adelaide in prelim finals. Maybe that
Geelong
finally end, but also Geelong. I mean, they've been very good in prelims for the past few decades, but I don't think they're anywhere near top 4 side. No, near it. Like, they got absolutely slaughtered by the Saints, obviously, but beat the West Coast Eagles yesterday, who aren't even in an AFL team at the moment. Let's be real, but I just don't think they're there at the moment. And then obviously they've got one of the best senior coaches of all time. So I think he can whip up some magic. But I'm just thinking about it. I mean, obviously we have to bloody get past the line first, but I'm just trying to think ahead of.
Yeah, you have to.
But this can be something that we've been given this opportunity to participate in the final series. Every single team that makes the finals deserve it.
Yep.
And we may not have deserved it today because we didn't get the win against the Saints.
Yep.
But we deserved it in the whole season.
Yeah.
Round 19, we were second on the ladder.
Mm.
Round 19, we were second on the ladder. It's nuts. But Daf, I guess I'll throw to some players that could potentially come in. But I do want to try and touch on some things throughout the game. But I just think the key names that could potentially be fit for the elimination final, because obviously we have the week off with the bye round, and then obviously we have another week with the final series coming.
That's
Week
good.
after. Great. So it's
Also, we will be playing on the Saturday night.
Yeah.
Footy Furnace just confirmed.
Yep.
We'll be playing the Saturday night. We need as many days
Yep.
as possible to get these guys right. Every day, every hour, every session, like recovery, you know what I mean? Like we need it. We actually need the bye is so important for us, and the extra days, the Saturday. That's huge.
So Jordan Boyd, 2 to 5 weeks. This was last updated on the Tuesday, obviously. So he is a chance, and he could be a potential inclusion. Adam Chera, another inclusion. Charlie Curnow, another inclusion. Tom
He's the one.
He is the game changer, in my opinion. I was saying it all day today, and I was saying it after the game.
I'll say it too.
He is the game changer come final series.
Yep.
Sam Doherty could be a chance. And I'm sorry, if he is playing, we are winning the premiership. But
we're going completely mad.
What a story that would be. I mean, obviously his first game back is the last game he played before he got this injury. So that will be another story as to like his return will obviously be Packet where he got injured, obviously. So that is, I mean, that it's a bit of an outside chance, but if he's fit to go and he's ready to go, you probably almost need to play him. Caleb Marchbank is another player that could be in contention, but I mean, like he will be, he is a potential inclusion, and if he is fit, he will be up for selection. Jack Martin is another player. Mitch McGovern is another player, and of course, last but certainly not least, Harry fucking McCoy. But your thoughts on that? I mean, there's also like another player like a Lockie Fogarty who, I mean, obviously is very unlucky to miss the rest of the season, and I don't think he's really a chance to get up even if we make the grand final. But those names, they are those players that you need to make changes to bring these guys in. Really, even like you can even look at like an Adam Chera. We were touching on it last episode, I think. Do we move the magnets around to fit Adam Chera in? So this is just a conversation now, especially with a guy like Ashton Moyer who's performing, Cooper Ward who's performing, Jack Carroll who's performing, Jackson Binns who's performing, Lewis Young, he made 1 or 2 errors today. But do you?
Yeah. Well,
with the tools down there.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's just get to that conversation when it comes. I don't know.
Right now, yes or no?
No.
Wow. Yeah. So it did like it definitely is
not a one player. He's just not. I think he was okay today, and we spoke about it. But I know we played that game opening round, but we're talking like elimination final. Like, is he going to be up for it? I don't know.
There's obviously Joe Danaher. There's Eric Hipwood. There's Logan Morris as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. But yeah, let's get to that in the preview.
Yeah. But obviously with Jordan Boyd as well, that's another player where you probably would expect him to come back in, especially with playing at the Gabba. And another player that I didn't even mention there was Zach Williams as well. That's another player that could almost is a lock to come back into this side, but that's another conversation as to what you really do with that. But those players, Duff, obviously you have to make way for Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow, but the way we've been playing in terms of the smaller footy that we've been playing, I mean, last week and obviously today, it didn't really work out well today, but I think we've said it a few times that we kind of reached the limit with this group the past 2 weeks. How important are these players to come back into this side? And the question is right now, I mean, obviously we will touch on it in a hell of a lot more detail in the preview, but just right now, what's your thinking? Like heading into an elimination final and making 6 to 7 changes, potential changes, what's your overall thoughts on that? And do you think we kind of need to take that risk to really take it up to Brisbane?
Yeah, I think if you go, TDK is a lock, he's the first lock.
Yep.
Has to play.
Yep.
Harry, Charlie, McGovern,
Yeah.
And then you go, it's really interesting to see how, Chera's pulling up, because he hasn't been clear in terms of his, whole outlook, and when he's coming back, it was more of a to be, confirmed. So that's never usually a good case, but I think they were just keeping a lid on it. But and there's guys, I'm not saying this out of being mean to these players, but there's going to be players getting dropped that we know who are going to get dropped. Let's be real, come the finals. And like you said, we've reached the limit. And if we want to have impact, we've got to be brutal sometimes. You've got to be
Mm.
brutal. I don't want to be rocking up with a skeleton of a side, small balling it against Harris Andrews and, Jack Payne. So like we said, it's exciting. I said today, can we just get over the line? Because I know the players are going to be back, and we didn't get over the line. I'm thinking, fuck, they would have all been fit the first week, and I was going to be sitting on my couch watching Brisbane pants Rio, but they didn't end up getting it done. And Port Adelaide and Ken Hinkley and they got the job done, and the chocolates for their former assistant coach Michael Voss.
I reckon we should
Yeah.
almost try and do a review episode on the free medal free medal Port Adelaide games.
Round 24 review. Fremantle versus Port Adelaide.
and then have the thumbnail as like bloody like Caleb Sarong like
Ed
in like
McEntee.
yeah Jed McEntee. Oh God. Willie Rioli kicked 3 goals.
Oh, he just
Oh gosh.
does nothing for fucking 3 quarters, and then he just pops up out of nowhere and saves our ass. But that credit to Willie.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But Daff, I guess we somewhat have to touch on today's game. It probably will be a bit of a shorter review episode because we want to try and soak it all in as to what we are actually making the finals, and obviously we'll spend a lot more time in the preview episode, really previewing the final series and what we think might happen in that elimination final, Carlton v Brisbane, but Carlton v Brisbane at the Gabba. But I guess there's just some questions I want to kind of ask you. And I mean, obviously today we were playing the same sort of brand of football as we did against West Coast, and I think we kind of both expected that the test would be a hell of a lot different today against the Saints under the marble roof. But overall, with our game style today, how did you see? Did you see any sort of change, and also when Harry and Charlie come back into this lineup? How do you really see this forward line shaping up? Like, do you think Brody Kemp has a chance to be featured in that forward line? Do you think there will still be the same amount of smalls down there? What's your kind of initial thoughts with how the forward line went today, but also with these crucial inclusions that come in? What's your overall thoughts with that?
Yeah, I thought, like I've been saying, I just think we actually got the most out of ourselves. I think, we shot ourselves in the foot in moments. I thought moments cost us today. I think it was particular moments. I don't think it was the way we wanted to play. We were using the middle of the ground a lot. We were brutal at the contest, that's what I wanted to see. And I thought we were going to run out of gas. I thought we were going to run out of gas because there's a lot of young bodies, fast deck, like you said, under the roof. I thought we were going to be cooked, and we just battled it out. And we were in a winning position where we probably we should have won the game. We did push her in the end. But in terms of the forward line, that's an interesting. I don't think Kemp's the one. I don't think he'll be in that forward line. Nothing wrong with him, but I just think he has to, whether it's move back or whatever. And that's another conversation, Patto. We've got a lot of conversations to have in that preview. Might have to be a 3-hour special, live from Crown Studios or something like that. Yeah, I don't think the Smalls are very good today. Motlop's first kick was that goal. That was his first kick.
Yeah, yep.
He's definitely no lock for me.
No,
Absolutely
100%.
no lock. I'd play Moore over him.
Definitely.
My look at it is with Harry and Charlie, you have them two, and your third forward. Doesn't have to be a super. Well, what is Moore? 187. Doesn't have to be a tall. We don't need talls. Like when you got them two, Moore, I think he's almost the guy. Just that. I'd love to see the counter of how many times I've said this, but the ace up the sleeve. The ace up the sleeve. He could be the unpredictability. And what did he do today, Patto? But going back to today's game, he comes on the ground and takes a few grabs, kicks him on his left for fun, hits targets, kicks a crucial goal on his left foot. That's a finals type impact, and I just want to see him have a full crack at it because he hasn't had it, and I think he deserves it today with the laid out. I didn't, yeah, I guess Fantasia, yeah, like it was interesting, but I think I would have probably rathered maybe more over Motlop, but yeah, it's gonna be, it's gonna be a hell of a lot easier with Harry and Charlie in that forward line, I must say. But the Smalls, even Owies today, like, it's just some frustrating moments, but yeah.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Basically. Even like a Corey Duden, who I think had some
Yeah.
start, but finished the game with 4 disposals.
Yeah, fuck.
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
look at that. Like Ashton Moyer gets 4 disposals in a quarter, and Corey
yeah.
Duden and Jesse Motlop get 4 disposals each in a full game of footy. And
Mm,
Jack Harrell finished the game with 8 disposals as well, and he got subbed. So he
yeah,
obviously didn't play another quarter, and I thought he was actually quite solid for the time he had out on the ground. And it was quite interesting that they
yeah,
took Carroll off. I thought it would have been Motlop or Durden 100%. Because I think, I mean, unless you probably do the
yeah, half
straight
forward.
switch of Jack Carroll, because Jack Carroll was playing very deep.
Yeah,
He was
kind of
kind of,
half forward, wasn't he? It was half forward-ish,
yeah,
deepish. It was kind of a Moya role, I guess. So maybe that's the like for like they were trying to get. I don't know, but I just obviously Motlop ended up kicking that goal in the last quarter. But yeah, fuck, he's no lock.
yeah,
Dern's not. There'll be a few guys making way.
Arazio as well. I mean, like,
Oh,
Arazio was solid, but he was late
yeah.
in.
Mm. And you got Bins covering the wing. Ollie playing, he was playing half back at some stage. I thought Ollie was all right today. It's
Yeah.
just, I think the moments he's nailing the moments, and whether he plays at half forward or half back. Fuck Binz's. What a fuck! He's a player, isn't he? Where's he been? Well, that's my number one criticism for the last 8 weeks. We were flogging a dead horse, Patto, and we were rolling out these blokes who kept losing every week. Maybe freshen shit up. Get Bins in, get Moyer in, get Lord in. It doesn't have to all be together like the West Coast game when we had to, but just get him in. Get
Mm.
them in. It was this waiting. What are we waiting for? Waiting to lose more games and cost ourselves top 4. That's the frustrating part for me.
And one of those players that we really saw throughout the season kind of get that chance was Lockie Cowan. And we saw
Yes.
the amount of difference
Look
that
at
it
him.
made in that back line. And he's pretty much now
Yeah.
absolutely in that back line.
Yeah.
And that's just another talking point come the preview episode as to how that kind of all shapes out. Because I think Cowan almost has to keep his spot, but then you kind of
Yeah.
look at Cooper Lord, who got 19 touches as well.
Yes.
He was so,
Oh.
and he
Are you
looks.
playing a Chera who you don't know is 100% right? You just don't know. Imagine Cooper Lord. I would like to see these young guys in a team that's not shit. Like not shit, but an undersized, imagine Harry Charlie with Moyer and Bins and, TDK getting, with Lord and stuff like that. They're almost play better. Sometimes when your team's better, those kind of role players and those young guys kind of feed in that energy. You know what I mean? You look at Brisbane 2 years ago with Darcy Wilmot. Everyone's like, who's this guy? And he played his first game or his second game in a qualifying final against the D's elimination against Richmond or whatever. And he was celebrating like a madman, but he just brought a little bit of energy and a bit of, I don't know. There's just some difference. And we were just predictable in that 8-week period where it was just like roll out the same blokes, make the easy force changes, the same guys from the VFL coming in who played 2 weeks ago who had no impact, rather than, guys who like Bins who probably should have almost played a game last year at points.
And we were kind of like asking for Ashton Moyer kind of early on in the season as well. Even with like the injury of Jack Martin, and I think there definitely is a role for that third tall, and I don't think we kind of utilize that enough. Like obviously Harry and Charlie have had full seasons. Obviously the past few weeks they've been out, but they've been in the senior side for most of the season, and I think you need to kind of utilize that third tall. I mean, mid-size, and then obviously Jack Martin has been injured for most of the year, and I don't think we've really utilised that because obviously Jack Savani is out as well,
Yes.
and then he probably would cover that Jack Martin role. But then you had a guy like Ashton Moyer who
Yes.
I kind of see how they did it because he wasn't really lining things up in the VFL anyway. But
Yeah,
I
but
still think you kind of give him the opportunity because I don't think Cooper Lord. I mean, Cooper Lord had a good 2 weeks and then he was rewarded straight away. But then
yeah,
you look at Jackson Binns, who's had 2 full
yeah,
years in the VFL, who's been absolutely sensational, and he's finally gotten his opportunity. Uh,
yeah,
you look at like even like a Matt Cottrell when he returned,
yeah,
we were kind of more like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
why
The
why
selection, the selection's not warranted. And it's not having a go at Cotters. What is the issue with playing guys in the twos? I don't know what the issue is. We're not dropping them down to the bloody Rezzies down at, Doveton or down in, Dandenong to play in the twos on a Saturday morning. Like, it's just VFL footy. Give them 2 weeks. Because then when they go out there, we all criticise the players when they're not ready. It's like Chera and Cottrell. They weren't ready. So play them in the twos where we're not watching, get them going after their 2 dominant performances, 3 dominant performances, roll them in there and they're feeling good about themselves.
Hmm. How'd you find the return of Adam Saad today?
Um, yeah, no, I thought there was moments. I think he's a moments player. Obviously, he's got that hammy that he's dealt with the whole year. Um, yeah, I thought he was okay. He had some bad, interesting moments with ball in hand, but which has been a bit worrying since he's come back from that hammy. We're not utilising him enough, I don't think. And his speed and pace and the ability to break lines, we just seem to be. He's been a little bit handball happy, hasn't he? Why is he taking a grab and giving off the offload? Why isn't he wheeling around? I don't mind the offload here and there when it's on, but it seems to be like it's like we're not using these guys' strengths. So, against the Lions, we're going to have to score heavily. So we need guys like Sard, like you mentioned, Boyd, to be firing ahead of the ball for us. And even, who knows where Zach Williams are going to play that first final? We don't know. They might go, fuck, Boyd's not right. Zach might have to go back to his normal position. And he did play pretty well in that Gabba opening round in that position. So there's so many options, and I'd love to see the thinking. And like you say, the fly on the wall in the meetings would be fantastic.
Exactly right. Another player that I mean, I thought I wanted to get your opinion about Sard because I think he had
Yeah.
some good moments, but also which is what I kind of saw today more than the
Yeah.
good moments, some pretty ordinary moments. I just think the pressure kind of got to me of just
Yeah.
like he was kind of getting like I mean don't think he got chased down, but players were getting really close to him and then affected his kick, and I'm like, he's not usually like that. He usually has a bit more time, and he's usually
Yeah.
like the silky type of player like a Scott Pendlebury where he kind of time stops. I mean, obviously he's
Yeah.
very quick, but
Yeah.
when he
Yeah.
kind of gets the foot, he kind of his decision making is very very solid, and it's wasn't really seen today. And that's why I thought I would also ask another question about another defender down there, Jacob Wiedering.
Yeah.
How did you see his game today?
Tried to do too much.
Yeah.
Just try to do too much. And I'm not worried about that. Of course, it's a frustrating performance, but I think he's a player that we know he's going to be rocking up for that first final and sorting it out. But for me, when he's a little bit, like you said, feeling under the pressure, and he's, my clear example was that Lewis Young shank in the last quarter. I don't want to focus on the one particular moment of Lewis. I thought, like you said, he was solid enough. I think he was serviceable. So
Mhm.
there was a few moments, not just him, but he was pointing everywhere. He was almost causing pressure to our own players and directing too much. Maybe focus on positioning yourself so the ball doesn't get over the back, mate. Right? He was going. He committed to sometimes his opponent. 50 meters. Did you say that? I think it might have been. There was a moment where they had some guy at full forward. It was Mason Wood. I don't know what quarter it was, and they wouldn't have shown it too much because they didn't end up kicking a goal. I remember the whole crowd. So Mason Wood's at full forward, and Weeders is in this no man's land kind of. There's obviously a player up there, but he's too late to get to that guy. You may as well stop the guy and let that guy have a shot from 50. that's the small things that can win you finals. And it was just the decision making. It's like I'm Jacob Wiedering. I've got to cover everyone. No, you don't. You can't. You can't do that. I know he's superhuman sometimes, but like in that situation against the Lions, I don't want to be seeing him not trusting his teammate to take that guy ahead of the ball and leaving fucking Jay Danaher or whoever in the goal square. So I think he'll be fine, Patto. I think he'll be fine.
Mm. Do you reckon the reason why he felt like he needed to do a lot of to have a lot of, I mean, he always shows the leadership, but I guess
Yeah.
to kind of cover the duties of other players, do you think the reason for that is because McGovern and Kemp weren't down there to kind of, and he's not really familiar with this back line without his key tools down there to help him out.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that was a bit of a point, like a bit of a reason for the way he was kind of directing, how he was directing? Do you reckon that was probably the reason why?
Yeah, that I think that's a really good point. Maybe he's not trusting Lewis Young enough. I think there's been signs over the years about those two, but yeah, I just think it was too much. Stop doing too much.
Yeah.
So remember Cripps years ago. Remember Cripps used to try and do too much, which he probably had to with a shit side, and Nick Graham running for handballs past him. But it's don't do too much. Like it's that I love the effort, right? I love it. I love the enthusiasm, whatever. He just needed it. Just take that step back, mate. Just take that step back and go, these guys can do it. Lewis Young showed it in the first month of the season. He's got Cowan down there. Nick Newman was superb today. He's got, Sardi down there who's played a lot of football. Trust them. And if they don't get the job done, waiters, so be it. So be it. You can't stop six blokes. Just step back and beat your opponent.
Yeah. But I don't think that's his role to worry about that.
No. Yeah, I don't know. It's the
Like in the
coach's
coaching
role.
stuff.
Of course, there's got to be, you can pull up a teammate if he fucks up something. But it wasn't even that. It was like he was trying to, it was like he thought it was a video game and he was trying to control
Everyone.
while they had the ball. So he's
Yeah.
putting pressure on him. Remember, he'd be calling for the ball. We're about to go into attack and he's calling for the ball. And then next minute he's going forward. Oh, forward. It's like, as the guy with the ball in hand, you're going, fuck. And that instance was the Owies one where remember Owies went back to him in the middle of the ground. And stuff up the kick, but the kick wasn't great. But what's the option for? We were trying to win the game, and I'm here going, I'll just go the safe option. We're not St Kilda Football Club. We're not St Kilda Football Club, and I know they beat us. Good on them. And I'll touch on the Saints right now while I'm on it, Patto. Like, good on them. And I saw a few of them wave. There was a section of them in front of us. There was a bit going on. It was kind of on the left of us, a few rows ahead of us. Nothing to do with me, but it was these, it was Carlton supporters, and it was back and forth. When it's back and forth, a few birds given, a few birds, and they waved them goodbye. It's all banter in the end, but that game doesn't really matter. And Saints, what do they finish 10th? You're waving us goodbye. So that's a little message to Ross Lyon, also Stephen Silvani, the list boss. The way he left the club was kind of shitting on the way we were going about things, and the way he's kind of, I don't know, I feel like they would have been so happy to beat us today. Him and Ross would have been laughing. They would have been chicken on there. They would have been drinking beers tonight down at platform 28, having a laugh. Enjoy Bali, guys, next week. And I'm sure there's some fucking deals on Flight Centre.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they can enjoy all the beers that they want because their season's over. So we can't afford to have the beers because our season is literally alive.
Yep.
They finished 12th on the ladder.
Yep.
And they're acting like they just won the grand final. Well done. Yeah. There's something about Saints supporters. I think
they play well when the pressure's off. And I feel bad for some of their supporters because where was that in the middle part of the year when the whips were cracking? There's no point of doing it in the last month. So we'll build into next year. And then next year they'll start off well. and then there'll be that little dip. They do every time. It's the same cycle. And they can chirp like, oh, we're the Grinch. We stole finals from them. Well, you fucking didn't. You fucking didn't.
Yeah. It reminds me of who it is? Oh yeah, Essendon. Yeah, a bit like Essendon. But
Collingwood Magpies.
uh,
Carlton FC, they were chanting 14 weeks ago.
yeah,
How's that? How's that going for you?
exactly right. But yeah, one more point about Wiedering, and I guess the question is that so when I guess what I see is there's certain players that if they ask for the footy, you kind of have a duty to give it to them, in
Yes.
my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, not all the time. If they're in a shit position and they're calling for it, don't give it to them. But if you see a switch and you see Wiedering, or I think probably the two players out there tonight was probably Wiedering and Cripps, where if
Yes.
they were to call, you give it to them.
Always given.
Yeah, but you kind of always like, yeah, you also think about, say, like Charlie, if he's in the side, if he's one out in the goal when he's saying, kick it in, he's another player that, kind of have to get into. But I guess the question is that I think the reason why he's asking for the footy so much is because he knows that he's going to get it. And I think that's a bit,
Yeah.
I don't think that suits,
No.
it doesn't suit us today. And I guess that's another question as to, do you think that was the reason why he wanted to have the control of, he wanted the footy in his hands because he couldn't trust the guy that was kicking it inside 50. So he's like, no, kick it back to me so I can sort it out. It's nowhere near a shit on Wiedering. We know that he's one of the best key defenders, if not the best key defender in the game right now. But I guess it's just a little bit funny, and I think we kind of have to go back to whether it is McGovern and Kemp. If they return to the back line, maybe that opens up a little bit for Wiedering and his trust. But I guess I'll ask you again, like, do you think there was another factor as to what was happening tonight with him always calling for the footy when he probably shouldn't be? And the players were like, oh, wait, no, it's Wiedering. I have to give it to Wiedering. But you don't have to, because you've got your brain for yourself, mate.
Yes.
So use your football IQ. The reason why you're drafted is obviously your skills, but also your football IQ.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm never a fan of it. I think that the clear name for me in the past has been Cripps.
Yeah.
We've always given it to him. Why are we giving it to him? Like, there was a moment in the game, I remember Binns was running on the outside at half forward. I don't know what quarter it was, second quarter. Hewitt gets the ball out of the contest. If he just does this little 15, 20-meter pass, Binns is running in on goal. He's wide open. He's probably got 50 meters of space. I remember Binns was filthy at him. He's going, he was screaming at him. And he gives, those little tacky, and like, I was like, oh, we see Cripps, got to give it to him.
Yeah.
And he's under pressure. He's Patrick Cripps. Of course, he's fantastic. But even Dacos, you're not just going to give it to him if he's not in the right position. Who cares who it is? You give it to the guy in the right position. And I think your point with Wiedering is correct. And I think with his mentality, it's almost like we're happy to just slow the game down at some points. And there was times where he calls for the ball and it's with a goal down, mate.
Yeah.
And you're against a team that minimises the chances at goal. So if you have a chance to go inside 50, which they don't allow very often because they defend really well, are you really going to go, oh, let's just let them set up the ground higher? So we'll go backwards and then let them push up and set up the ground. So it's 2 kicks now inside 50. You can't be doing it against Brisbane in the Gabba. Can't be. You got to make sure that ball is. Of course, there's a time to switch, like you said. But there were some instances where we're going back to him and then you're looking at the other side of the ground and there's no one there. The whole ground set up on one wing. So all the ruckmen, they're all set up and we're switching to no one. And then we have to end up going back to where we were, and then everyone's in the wrong position. It frustrates the hell out of me.
There was actually one moment where it was Newey and Weeders in the back line. It was the St Kilda cheer squad end, because I was on the member section, and it was, I think Newey kicked it to Weeders, and I think it was out on the other side, and you probably could have gone to him if you were quick enough. And then Weeders was like, oh no, but he called it. He called for it. Probably asking for the switch, so that's why Newey kick it to him. Newey decided to kick it to him. Marked it, and he's like, oh no, he can't go. Okay, I'll go back to Newey. And then Newey then kicked it long.
It's a waste of time.
What's the point of that? But you had the switch kind of covered. Like,
Yeah. So why are you going there? It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I get today because we had a small ball lineup and the way they defend, you can't bomb it because they got Wilkie down there, Howard, Marshall. I get that. But that's just not. What's the point of that? I like what we were trying to do today, where we were kind of going inboard. Like Cripps did it a lot today. Everyone going, oh fuck! Like the whole crowd goes, oh look, it's a risky kick, but it's the risky kick you have to take. And I'll talk about in the preview. Those are the kicks that win your finals. They give you opportunities out of nothing. You go, fuck! If I can pull off that kick, which I know I can, I know it could hurt us on the other end if we fuck this up, but it could win you a final. And you look at the opening round game, and we took on risks in that 40-point comeback. We were taking the game on, passes in the middle, Boyd, Sards, bullets. Cripps is doing it now, which is fantastic.
Mm. Yeah, I'm quite intrigued to what the stats were in the opening round game. So I want to try and go back. I mean, like obviously for the preview, I want to try and go back and kind of
Yeah,
assess that and kind of see what we were dominant in. And the frustrating thing today is that we were quite dominant as well,
yeah,
especially in that last quarter. Like we were dominant in that last quarter, but unfortunately we couldn't get it done. And I think as we've said it many times, we can't really see it too on the negative side
yeah,
because I think once again, we will say it again, we kind of reached the limit with this group. But I guess the question I'll ask, one more question before I guess we'll move on to the bagger of the game vote stuff, because obviously we want to try and make this review a little bit shorter than what it usually is. But I guess your thoughts on Sam Walsh in his game tonight. So 32 touches, 14 kicks, 18 handballs, 4 marks, 8 tackles.
mm,
So I think he was
yeah,
solid.
yeah,
One of those games where I think if we were playing a bit against a better opposition, maybe the game wouldn't be seen as good as what we saw it tonight. But
mm,
do you think Sam Walsh is kind of progressing a little bit towards obviously an elimination final, and we need Sam Walsh at his
yeah.
Walshy best? How did you find his game tonight? And did you see a bit of a difference from last night and also last week as well?
Yeah, I thought he was better last week. We said there were signs there. I thought he was better today. Just for me, like he was good today. I think he was solid with those numbers. But like you said, it's that you don't know how to explain how he's playing right now. It's like that. It's frustrating. It's
Yeah.
actually frustrating, isn't it? It's like he's getting it, but like he's having these moments that just you just go, "What are you doing, man? What are you doing? Like, are you right? Like, fitness wise? Like, are you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to use that as excuse because he's getting picked. So if you're out there, clearly you're fit. Well, maybe not in Carlton's past. I don't know the way we deal with fitness, but you know what I mean? Like that kick, you know, when that Kennedy went to him out in the wing and then he missed that inboard kick. For some reason, we were allergic to go inside 50 at the start of the game. Remember, it was Kennedy had a free kick on the wing and he had all these options inside 50 and he goes to the dead spot. The deadest spot on the ground, in my opinion, in any AFL ground, is 70 metres out on the wing, and you're kind of so wide that you can't really get into your forward 50 well enough. And your only options are the really skinny part of the 50 where there's a pocket. And he gives him and he kicks the ball to Walsh, and Walsh doesn't even look forward. And he misses the easiest pass I've ever seen. This inboard pass, but that pass shouldn't even existed because the ball should have been going inside 50. So it's just those moments. And even last, wow, which game was it? Maybe the Hawthorn game when he was running inside 50 and he laces out Sicily on the tit. So it's just moments like that. If he can fix those up, and we know that he can play finals, Patto. And like you said, we're clearly meant to be here. Not sure how after the last 8 weeks, but we're clearly meant to be here, and he's clearly meant to be playing finals footy. And he was the best finals player last year. Can he do it? Yes, he can.
Hmm. Yeah. There were just a few moments,
Yeah.
like, and you're like, "Ah, there's the Walsh that we love." And
Yes. Yeah.
like, ah, and he does it in error, and I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I guess the question has to be asked, and like that's why I kind of nodded my head because when
Mm,
you mentioned about you kind of hope that he is fit,
mm.
or whether it's like, oh yeah, but it's Sam Walsh. I think it's 75% Sam Walsh is better than 100% Cooper Lord. Oh, really? Really? I think
Yeah.
I probably would almost rather Cooper Lord out there if he's 100% fit and performing.
Yep.
Um, And I think I think you look at the stats and 32 touches. I think it's
Yeah,
very,
it's
very
great.
solid. But yeah, I think we kind of it's a conversation that we have to kind of have once again towards a preview.
Yep.
What's going on there? Because it's not the Walshy that we used to know, and it's not the Walshy that we love in the Carlton jumper. But Daff, I guess the last seven that we'll touch on for the review episode, it is the bagger of the game, though. So obviously, for the people who don't know, it's exactly like the Brownlow system. So 3 votes for the best player on the ground, 2 votes for the second best player on the ground, and 1 vote for the third best player on the ground. And obviously, we're just gonna pick Carlton players. But Daff, your bagger of the game votes for tonight against the Saints. 2-point loss, Marvel Stadium, last round of the home and away season. Who have you got?
Yeah, there's a few names popping in my brain. Yeah, you look at Cripps. I think his impact on the game was pretty big, wasn't it? It's just those, like I said, with those inboard kicks, he's added to that game. But my I hate to be repetitive with the votes, but I think I've just gave it a sneak peek again. It's unbelievable what the man is doing. But one vote, one vote, one fucking vote. I'm going to give one vote to Georgie Hewitt. I think he was solid, apart from that little moment I actually rinsed him about. But sorry, Georgie, if you want, I love you. But yeah, check side goal he kicked earlier. I didn't think he had that in the repertoire, but he pulled that out. Another little ace up his sleeve, Georgie fucking Hewitt, as you call him, Patto. But yeah, he's my one vote. 2 votes. Gee, he was pretty good today. 16 marks he took. 16 marks. His marking is, like we said, those the drop of the ball. It's like he's marking at the lowest point. It's like the hardest thing to do, and then he always flies for the ball. Whether he has an opponent coming at him, he's gutsy. He's gutsy, Nick Newman. So he's my 2 votes, 35 touches as well. I like the way he goes about it. He's an interesting figure. Nick Newman, he just strolls around, takes grabs for fun on a Sunday arvo at Marvel Stadium. But 3 votes.
Cripper?
3 votes is Cripper again.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think every time in a game when we win, it's that gear. He has another gear that no one else has. And I thought, Walsh was good today. I just think Cripps' impact is far beyond that. And it's inside. It's an inside ball. And I know, everyone goes, oh, fucking, we vote Cripps every week. But he'll be out there for the votes again because his impact on games is different. He's different gravy, as some people would say, Patto. So 3 votes to Patrick. And obviously some other notable names probably missing. Say maybe Walsh with a vote, maybe. But then I look around, I don't know who else is going to get votes. So, not Pitto, what did he end up with? 11. He didn't let Marshall dominate him, Pitto, which I liked in the end. I thought Marshall was going to take the game by the scruff of the neck early. That was Pitto's role today. Just minimise Rowan Marshall's impact, and he did, which was good.
Yeah. I completely agree. I love the votes, but I guess we have the same players, but I just wanted to give one person a bit of a a bit of a notice, and it's Blake Acres.
Today.
2 goals, 19 touches, and I just think, even today when he almost had that mark in the last
so close.
I just feel like every single time that we need someone, it's Acres, isn't it?
Yes.
Like he kicked that crucial goal, and I'm like, he's so important. And I just don't think there is enough conversation going to Blake Acres and the amount of, I wouldn't say talent because it's just hard. It's hard work, but it's also, it's just clutch. Every single time it's ice cold. And I saw I think it was 2021 when Bailey Smith did the fucking ice in the veins. But he was Blake Acres did that because every single time he has a shot on goal or he's in a pressure moment, I'm trusting him every single day of the week. So
it's the moments.
Yeah.
Moments are the most important in football. We didn't nail enough of them today. But like you said, he nailed it.
Yeah.
Even that Geelong game we lost this year, who kicked the goals to get us back in it? Mr. Clutch himself. Who won us the finals last year? Mr. Clutch. Obviously, there's other people, but when the moment is there, the moment is never too big for Blake Acres. And you are spot on, Patto. It's absolutely fantastic that you said that.
Mm. So my one vote, I think
Yep.
it might actually be oh no, it's not the complete reverse. One vote, Paddy Cripps.
Yep.
Solid, good, 30 touches. Like
Yeah.
he was tagged by
Nice.
Liam Stocker, I think his name is.
Yeah, I've heard some things about his
Yeah.
Did you read that too?
Yeah.
I reckon that's very true as well, because it was a
Yeah.
very interesting time when he left. It was a very interesting exit. No one said, remember, no one gave him a farewell on their Instagram. Yeah, that's an interesting situation, Pato.
Did you see it was on the boundary line when Cripps got
Yes.
into him a little bit?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just feel like, yeah, I completely agree. And then, I mean, like I did read that as well, but just a bit like fiery. As you said, there was not like,
No
I
love.
could say he was a toxic in the club, but
No, yeah.
I mean, or we would have no idea. So we're not going to speak on anything that we don't know. But it was funny because I think, like, say, like when a Paddy Dow left, it was kind of like,
yeah, it's like, good on you.
Yeah, good on you. Like, oh, like, we wish you all the best. And I think a lot of people kind of got around him a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
Even like an SBS to a stretch as well, like when he went to West. Like,
People were saying,
yeah, but yeah, that's funny. Very, very funny. And it will be interesting after seeing the actions today.
yeah,
What comes out.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, that might be a Baggers Chat exclusive, mate. But one vote, Paddy Cripps. Two votes, I'm going to give it to Georgie.
Yeah.
I wanted to give him the 3, but I think you've got to give the 3 to Newey.
Yeah.
35 touches.
Yeah.
You've said it.
Yeah.
16 marks.
Yeah, I'm starting to think I need to sway over to the Newman camp. No, this is my first of the year. I'm getting one every year. He's my 3.
Yeah.
He's my 3. And I was, like I said, I was fucking talking about him like he was the world's best player. So 3 to him for me. And that's obviously switching with Cripper.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so he was 16 marks.
Yeah.
Next best, Blake Acres 9.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
7 more than the second best person with marks. It's nuts.
And he takes contested ones too.
And maybe that is another like we kind of were always looking for him, and I don't know if it was a bit like the Luke Ryan role, a little bit of Freo, for Freeman, but he's better than Luke Ryan, isn't he?
Yeah.
I just think he kind of provides a little bit more. He can play tall, he can play small. I think Luke Ryan can do that as well, but his ball use when he takes on the game,
no, it's good. That's what frustrates me when he's negative, him and Wiedering, because they're both good kicks.
Why doesn't he do it more, Duff?
Especially if we're, like I said, with finals footy coming up, we need him at his best with ball in hand. You can't afford any negative ball movement.
And I love that it's 28 kicks, 7 handballs as well. So he's obviously using his boot, but also 7 intercept possessions as well. Like, that's also really good to see. So yeah, I think Nick Newman was absolutely fantastic, and he definitely gets my 3 votes, and obviously yours as well, Duffy Boy. But Duff, obviously, it is a little bit of a shorter episode, or maybe it isn't. I think it is. I think we do like to ramble. We kind of say we're like, oh no, it will be a shorter episode, but then we'll probably reach towards the hour. We always love speaking about the we love. But Daff, before we wrap up the episode, our last review for the home and away season, is there anything else you would like to touch on?
Yeah, well, leaving that ground, I was thinking about Baggers Chat, and then as soon as Port Adelaide won, I said to my parents, I'm like, the Baggers Chat show goes on. The show goes on. We never die. You'll be seeing our two heads for the next couple of weeks at least. So let's just get behind them, and who knows? Who fucking knows? It's going to be hard, but at least we're in there, and I was pretty happy to pull together the finals bound graphic after the game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly right. And also, like, I mean, when I posted that photo about like, could have scripted this, no one could have scripted this heartbroken. I'm like, I'll see the Port Adelaide win. I'm like, fuck, that post is a little bit stupid now. Because I'm like, I'm fine. I'm great.
Yeah, that's the roller coaster. It was so funny because when I posted the finals bound one, it was a photo of Cripper celebrating, and you posted the one of him down in the dumps. Yeah. It's like that couldn't have been like that's the biggest like summary of a Carlton supporter's experience.
Legit.
If you go on our Instagram feed right now and you look at those two photos next to each other, you'd be like, just sums it up. That just sums it up.
It's actually unbelievable. It literally is like that. They were the. I mean, we've mentioned it many times, but the today, I can feel it right now. I am so tired. Oh my god, I'm like mentally drained. But Daph, obviously another great episode. Always a pleasure doing an episode with you. Two episodes a week. And like obviously heading into final series. Obviously we don't know how long we will last, but it's going to be very interesting to see how far we do go. And let's just say now that we've got nothing really to lose. I think we kind of have to risk some players, like even if like a Tom DeConning might not be 100%. I think he is the type of player that I think I would almost like at 85 to 90% Tom DeConning out there against the Brisbane Lions. But to every single blue bagger out there, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're on YouTube, look at Daph's screen and look at that sexy man over there, Ken Hinkley. I reckon straight after this episode, I'm going to buy a 2025 membership with the Port Adelaide Football Club. Probably will only be one game, Daph. Maybe not even anything. Or I might even just send them maybe like a cheese and onion Smith's chips and maybe a Diet Coke.
Set of tea.
Oh, but it's funny. It's funny. But, I mean, it's a moment that I think we walked in today being like, this will be a moment that we will never forget. Yeah. And it really was, because we were walking out and being like, we've done it again. But then watching the game, it was unbelievable. But yeah, shout out to Port Adelaide, absolutely fantastic performance. We might actually have to do a review episode for the game Fremantle Port Adelaide. But to every single blue bagger out there, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel, but also make sure to get around our Spotify, our podcast platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple Music. There's a few others out there. And also make sure to follow us on our social platforms, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're trying to keep up as much as possible on all of those platforms. But to you, Daffy boy, we've done it. We've made the 8. And now
we're still standing. We're still
somehow.
Show goes on.
I can't wait to make this documentary at the end of the year. I thought last year was bad, but this year it's gonna be crazy. But to you, Daffy boy, always a pleasure, mate.
Yeah.
Every single blue bagger out there.